12 years ago, I was on this very same rowing machine in this gym, and I really badly injured myself. I had jumped on the scale at that time, I don't know, a few months beforehand, and I was just super heavy, you know. I was so disappointed in how big I had gotten, and I just went online and I signed myself up for like 11 races. I started off with like small triathlons and little mud runs and then half marathons, and eventually I was going to do an Ironman. So I signed up for all these things. So I figured if I spend all this money and I do this, then like I'm gonna follow through. So I hit the gym and I'm going for it, and I'm cleaning up my diet, I'm shedding the weight, I'm feeling better, my mind's more clear, I'm doing better in business, everything's going better in my life. And the weekend before I hurt myself on this machine, I did my first half marathon here in Santa Cruz, and it was amazing. I just was so happy with my time and my consistency, and I just felt so good. And so, you know, it's easy for anybody to get really enthusiastic when you're at the gym. So I'm on this rowing machine and I'm just pulling back. And what happened was right here, the seat somehow, I guess they stopped it, but back in the day, it went all the way and it slammed my Achilles tendon. And I remember thinking, oh, I think I hurt myself. I thought, who cares? And I just kept going, and I did it again. I hit my Achilles tendon again. And you know, you're just in this mindset in the gym, like, it doesn't matter, keep going, keep going. So later that day, I didn't realize I had hurt myself so bad. And I used to have an office in Santana Row, if you know San Jose, California, which my family's lived here for 10 generations in this area. My ancestor founded the city of San Jose, of all things, which is pretty cool heritage. So I have an office in San Jose in Santana Row. It's this big glass building where, you know, and I had a longboard, a skateboard, and we had this massive office, and I would skateboard in my office and just do circles, like just for fun and exercise. I brought the skateboard there to move furniture. That was the original reason. So I'm skating, like I just, you know, it's full foot up, like I'm a ballerina, just like it's just this, as big as I can push. And then all of a sudden, I thought someone shot me in the back of the leg. And what turned out is my Achilles tendon snapped and rolled up my calf. And the first thing I did was I called a friend who was a pastor that had his Achilles tendon snapped. And I called him up, I go, hey, you won't believe it, I just snapped my Achilles tendon at the office. And he goes, I don't believe you. I just said you won't believe it, it's true. I said, you got to pray for me right now. You got to pray that God heals me, man. This is like, I need a miracle. I just can't do this. You know, my office was like an hour away from my house, and it was very inconvenient. I had a lot going on. He prays, nothing happens. I call over 2 of my employees and I go, hey, this just happened. There's just 3 of us in the office. I go, you guys got to put your hands on me and pray for me. Just pray for a miracle. Pray that I get healed. Like I can't deal with this. They pray, nothing happens, which is reasonable. You can't expect a supernatural miracle. You know, doctors provide supernatural miracles through surgeries and medicine. It doesn't have to be some sort of mystical, powerful thing, but I thought I'd try that first. And I remember sitting there and knowing that my whole life was going to change. Within a week, I left that company, which later went on to be wildly successful, and I'm so proud of being able to be the co-founder and lead that company for a couple of years. And we had a wonderful exit, you know, a few years after that. And because of that, my whole life changed. I was home, I couldn't drive, I had to slow down, think about my life. And, you know, right now I'm on day 16 of no calories in my body, under medical supervision. For all those that have sent me messages saying you're worried about me, don't worry. I prepared for this moment for decades. And here I'm at the gym. Now, when I usually come to the gym, I'm a big, strong dude, and I lift heavy weights. And I'm sweaty within 5 minutes. Now, I've already done 300 reps, and I'm not sweaty. Why? because I'm lifting at like 10%, 15% of my potential, and I'm just doing really, really high reps, almost like doing light cardio with weights. And it got me thinking, it got me reflecting about the fact I've been in the gym working out since I was my son's age. You know, I started working out at home with my dad at like 12, 13. I started going to the gym seriously at like 15, 16. I remember taking the bus before I could drive to the gym with my friends. And I remember the pressure that I would feel to lift heavy weights. And I remember hurting myself. Like I kept having same injuries in my shoulder, or I had a rib that would pop out when I lifted too much. And it was like I just couldn't get over the ego thing of wanting to present myself to the world and to myself that I was masculine, I was strong, I was capable. And I remember that back in the day, I would use the, what we call Nautilus machines. I don't know if it's called that anymore, but the machines where you go on, you change the weight, and then you lift. And I would do as much weight as I could, and then when I was done, I'd move it down to a lower, heavier weight, like as though anybody cared what I did. But I was so thoughtful at a young age of the impression that people had of me that I wanted everyone to like come over to the seat, I guess, and be like, wow, that kid really lifted a lot of weight. I mean, I don't know what I thought. And so recently my wife said something to me. She said, I saw a girl, and when she got off the machine, she put the weight lower. And I can't understand why she'd ever do that. And I got to thinking, I'm like, wow, there is something about our culture that just deeply wants to impress people. And so over the last 16 days, my wife and I have been still going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And as I said, I lift like 15% of the weight I would normally lift in order to be safe, but still be active and make sure that I try to maintain my muscular body and just only be burning fat during the fast. And I'm in ketosis and everything's tracking. I went and had a checkup 2 days ago. I'm feeling good about everything. And I just got to thinking, like, there's a part of me that it's hard for me to get on a machine where usually I would put on 200 pounds and I do 30. Or usually I put on 50 pounds and I do 5. Like, there is an emotional thing in me where I go, I don't know, I think it's subconscious, like, well, what impression am I giving the world? And I think that's something that's so powerful about this fast. I had a friend ask me, what are you doing with all the extra time? I haven't responded to him yet. He just wrote it and I just saw it. What am I doing with all the extra time? Because it's true, people spend an hour, 2 hours eating in their life. And then how much time do we spend thinking about food? Going up to the fridge, going to the cabinet, driving to the restaurant, sitting down waiting for the waiter. I mean, there's a lot of time into that. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing with the extra time. I just know that I have a different mentality. I know that it means a lot to me to trim down. I was talking to my dad last month, and both of us were quite concerned about my health getting out of control. I'd kind of let my weight go, and I was in the gym, but I wasn't eating right, and I just wasn't being disciplined. It really requires me to do intermittent fasting. I need to limit my eating window, and I need to eat more lean, healthy, nutritious, natural, non-processed foods for me to try to maintain a more of a lean body mass. And I've lost 34 pounds in the last 16 days. That is almost 1 kilogram a day. That's obviously wildly encouraging. Now, I'm not doing this to lose weight. I'm doing the 40-day fast because it's been a personal goal of mine to do this since I was 18 years old. And I keep just visualizing day 40. And I keep thinking about how I will feel that I finally achieved the Mount Everest of discipline. And I really look forward to that day, but I'm not counting down the days till I get there. I'm not counting down the days till I get to eat. I'm enjoying each and every single moment that's a challenge. I hope that you are encouraged by this video, and until next time, peace.